Jon Hamm won his Emmy for Mad Men. And tonight, the John Burroughs grad joins us in a two-part interview to talk life, the Lou, and the hit series Landman. It's a pleasure to be joined by the great Jon Hamm. Now, Jon, let's don't mess around here. Is your character in Landman definitely dead? Dallas brought back Bobby Ewing. Say it ain't so that Monty Miller is dead.
Well, as I've said to many people, when the last shot of you is laying in a hospital bed surrounded by your family and they're crying and the machine has a flat line on it, it's generally not a great sign. I live and work in Hollywood where we never say never. I mean, Iron Man came back, for God's sake. So, you never know.
You have worked with Tom Cruise and Ben Affleck. I'm wondering, have you ever worked with anybody quicker than Billy Bob Thornton?
I mean, Billy Bob's, first of all, he's a Cardinal fan. So that is immediately, I'm a fan of his, and he's from Southern Arkansas. He's a great guy. I met Billy Bob at the All-Star game in St. Louis for the first time, but I was very aware of him from his work all the way back to Sling Blade. He's a fantastic actor. He's a live wire. He's a great dude.
In the middle of filming this great show, Landman, are you and Billy Bob ever having conversations about, gosh, the Cardinals aren't doing anything in this offseason?
It came up a few times. It's pretty top of mind for both of us. Honestly, after Waino and Yachty left, the team seemed a little bit rudderless to me, because we had those two tremendous captains of the team really forever, it seems. Obviously losing Albert was a tremendous blow, but even the team kind of bounced back and had some good runs even after he was gone. But since Yachty and Waino left, everybody kind of seemed to be a little bit confused, and I don't think that's changed. Obviously Nolan and Goldie were great additions, but the team as a whole kind of hasn't really gelled, and I wonder how the front office is going to solve that. I'm glad it's not my job.
One final Landman thought. One of the best moments was the scene with you in the hospital bed and Jerry Jones. Is it true that was one take, and were you amazed at the acting ability of the Cowboys owner?
Well, it wasn't exactly one take. It was a series of long camera runs. We ran 3 cameras on Jerry, and basically he just kind of told his story, which is a phenomenally interesting story. Jerry is a I had the very good fortune to sit next to Jerry Jones and his wife, and across from George W. Bush, believe it or not, at Tony Romo's retirement party down in Dallas. So I've known Jerry for a little bit. I knew that his charisma, his natural charisma, would take over, and there wasn't necessarily a lot of acting needed. He just got emotional when he talked about his family, got emotional when he remembered the story of how he made enough money to buy arguably the most valuable franchise in professional sports. And that's true. All that's true. His story is true. And that's the kind of money and influence and power that these guys, these wildcatters, these landmen have or can have. I mean, it's a big risk, high reward game. And I think that's what makes it pretty fertile ground for storytelling, as Taylor obviously found out.
All right, let's talk football. And I want to make you look good here. Even though you live in LA, you can't be rooting for Stan Kroenke's Rams, can you?
No. The short answer is no. The Rams came to St. Louis when I went to LA, basically. I think they came in 94 and I went to LA in 94, 95. So, obviously when Kurt Warner and the Greatest Show on Turf were there was a hometown pride, and we were very happy for that whole team. I think they got robbed out of their second consecutive Super Bowl by the Patriots, but we won't get into that. So when they moved back, I had no real connection to that team, and obviously Stan Kroenke is not exactly a fan favorite in St. Louis for what he's done. So no.
You are in a fantasy football league with Bill Simmons, and are you like the rest of us that when you do win on a Sunday, the air smells fresher, the food tastes better, your wife looks more attractive? I mean, how into it are you?
Well, so into it that in fact I am in about 4 or 5 different leagues. I think I'm in the guillotine league, I'm in a best ball league, I'm in a regular fantasy league. I have too many leagues. So it's in fact, I told my wife, I was like, okay, next year only three, which would be cutting it about in half. So it is a commitment. And yes, you're right. When you do win, you're kind of like, all right, this feels good.
You are recently married. Anna Osceola is the lucky woman. What's that like being married for the first time in your 50s?
Yeah, it only took me half a century to figure it out, but it's great. We've been together, kind of living together and knowing each other for the better part of 3 or 4 years before we met on Mad Men, actually. But we've been together since we moved in together during the pandemic, and sort of that's a trial by fire right there. If you are stuck in the same house with somebody, you better like them. And it turns out we did, and then in 2023 we got married, and it's been great. We've cohabitated here with our dog Murphy, who's right at my feet down there in front of my desk, and hopefully we'll get to starting a family and continuing down the back nine here.
Let's get back to sports. I saw you on the set of the Winter Classic. You're on the set with Wayne Gretzky. And even though everything you achieved, are there ever times where you say to yourself, holy cow, Wayne Gretzky knows my name? I'm buddies with Wayne Gretzky.
I mean, it's crazy. I met Wayne back in the late '90s, playing in a golf tournament. Weirdly, with him up where had a house up in Sherwood Country Club up in the valley up there, and I got to know Janet, who's his longtime wife, who actually grew up in good old Cool Valley, St. Louis. And I said, Janet, I used to ride my bike through Cool Valley. It was right around the corner from Normandy, where I grew up. She, oh my God, I can't believe it! I was on the swim team. So we just kind of St. Louis out, and we've known each other really ever since. And I was at Wayne's 60th birthday party, which was in St. Louis at Frontenac during the All-Star game, hockey game. So it's just great. I've known his kids, and yeah, to answer your question, it's surreal. You go, I can't believe I'm sitting here talking hot stove hockey with Wayne Gretzky and Panger and Chris Chelios and all the guys that are up there for the Classic. And it was such a fun event, and obviously the Blues came and they dominated, and that was really fun as well. And got to hang out with some of the guys on the team that I know. And Chicago is just such a fun city. It was properly cold and a little snowy, and you get bundled up. And that's my third one. So I did one in St. Louis, one in Minnesota, and one in Chicago. So hopefully it'll come back to St. Louis again, and hopefully the team will start gelling and hitting on all cylinders. And hopefully they'll make the playoffs. That's all I can really root for.
I was going to ask you, how concerned are you about our hockey team right now?
I mean, they're not. It feels like they're in a little bit of a funk. They're not exactly, like I said, hitting on all cylinders. I think they have the pieces. I think they have the skill for sure to play with anybody in the league. They've proven that. It's just, it feels like sometimes um, it's like I said, it's like not hitting on all cylinders. It feels like it's just there's one thing that they miss, or one bounce goes the wrong way, and it takes all the air out of the tires. And so I think once the bounces start going their way and they start hitting on all cylinders, they've got a shot to squeak in. And then I think nobody really wants to play them, because they are a really good team. And with 50 in the net, anything's possible. He's proven that time and time again.
You've been a great friend to Kelly Chase, who's beating leukemia for the second time. He told me last night you've been supporting him throughout. He really is Blues hockey, isn't he?
For sure. I mean, there's nobody that represents the kind of lunch pail attitude more than 39. And I've been checking in with him. He's fighting a good fight. He's people don't realize that it's not just the cancer, it's the treatment, right? And the treatment can be as devastating to get through as surviving the actual disease. But Chase is surrounded by an amazing family. He's obviously got the love and the will of all the Blues fans and the city of St. Louis. There's nobody more well loved than Kelly Chase in St. Louis, and he's fighting the good fight. And we're all checking in on him and keep sending him those thoughts and prayers, and I'm sure he'll pull through.